Hey, and welcome back. I'm Daniel Flanzig, a partner with the law firm of Flanzig & Flanzig, also known as New York Bike Lawyers. Last video, we talked about road position and where to ride. And as a result of that video, a number of comments were posted to Instagram, 4 questions that were posted by Poster Christianity. And as promised, Christianity, I want to answer those questions to the best of my ability and give you my opinion as to the things that you asked. So his first question was, in New York City, I will ride a safe distance from car doors, which would conflict with the requirement to stay far right or left. Great question. So there is the practicality of riding a bike in a manner that which keeps you safe and alive, and there is being compliant with every single rule of the road. And I don't think they go hand in hand. So Christianity, in circumstances like that, I think it's fair to say you ride outside of the door zone and you do what you need to make yourself be safe on the road. I know, for example, when I'm riding in certain areas that are narrow roadways, I will move off the shoulder and make myself visible and move into the center of the roadway. That is not compliant with the statute, it's not compliant with the law, but I know it's going to keep me safe. If I am stopped at a traffic light, I will inch ahead of any of those stopped vehicles so I know they see me before that light turns green. So if they're turning right, they're not going to clip me. I'm invisible. I'm visible. I'm ahead of them. They have to see me, right? I might have to be stopped at a stoplight if it's being perfectly compliant with the vehicle and traffic law. But in that circumstance, I am going to keep myself safe by making myself visible. So following up to that, your next question was, it was my understanding that I can claim the full lane when I deem it unusable for a car to pass me. So New York State technically doesn't have a law that allows you to take the lane. However, like I just said, it is a safe and prudent thing to do when you are traveling on a narrow roadway and a motorist trying to pass you is going to put you in danger. Then take the lane until it's safe, until you can move back over to the right and you feel comfortable. So why New York necessarily doesn't have a statute that says take the lane, I think it's practical and I think it's good practice for you to establish your position in the roadway in such a manner that makes you highly visible and more difficult to get around so that you are there, safe, and your presence is known. Question number 3. It's common practice for cars to creep up behind a bike and honk to let you know when I'm coming through, even when there is no safe way to pass. All right, so let's talk about that. And the law in New York City, again, is different than the law in New York State. Well, not different, but they're phrased a little bit differently. So in New York City, it's illegal to blow a horn unless you are confronted with an emergency, right? So what you just described to me is not considered an emergency, them letting you know that they're there because they want to go through. That's not an emergency. So that would be illegal in New York City. In New York State, no one shall sound the horn other than when it's necessary to give reasonable warning. So maybe a little bit better there if it's reasonable warning to let you know that they're coming through. But again, it doesn't need to be done and it's not really consistent with the law. Now, there is an obligation to sound the horn though. So I want to turn to that for a moment. So vehicle traffic law is 1146 is what I always call the catch-all law. And that's drivers to exercise due care. And that states nothing, notwithstanding the provisions of any other law. To the contrary, every driver of a vehicle shall exercise due care to avoid colliding with any bicyclist, pedestrian, or domestic animal. Isn't that lovely? They put us in the same group as domestic animals. Upon any roadway, and shall give warning by sounding the horn when necessary, right? So sounding a horn when something is an emergency, something's imminent, or it's necessary, that is lawful. When it's done to harass, it's done to let you know they are just coming through. That would be an unreasonable use of horn, not an emergency, and I would consider that illegal use of a horn. And then finally, question 4, where is it? On a two-way street with a double yellow line, are cars permitted to overtake a bike? I see cars doing crazy maneuvers on these streets frequently. All right, so let's talk about New York's safe passing law. I talked about that a little bit earlier in one of my earlier videos about 3-foot law. New York does not have a 3-foot law. We have a safe passing law, and that's Vehicle and Traffic Law 1122A. And that states, the following rules shall govern the overtaking and passing of vehicles, and a bike is considered a vehicle for the purpose of the Vehicle and Traffic Law, proceeding in the same direction, subject to those limitations, exceptions, and special rules hereinafter stated. VTL 1122A. The driver of a vehicle overtaking another vehicle proceeding in the same direction shall pass to the left thereof at a safe distance, and shall not again drive to the right side of the roadway until safely clear of the overtaken vehicle. So the obligation of a motorist coming up behind you and passing you on the left, he or she has to pass at a reasonably safe distance and cannot come back to the right until they've clearly passed you and safe from striking you and in your path. So Christianity, thanks for those comments. I hope these comments cleared up all your questions. And thank you all for commenting. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Talk soon.